Hey, how you going? It's George Haydock. I want to challenge you for something at the moment. My challenge to you is that why would you want to be average? Average thinking habits keeps most HVAC people poor. It's not poor working habits. Most HVAC people work really, really hard, but they don't think really hard. You know, Unfortunately, only 5% of the industry will be successful. And so the question is, what does that 5% do that the other 95% don't? Well, I'll tell you, is that my information is that they work harder on themselves than what they do on their job. They're constantly improving themselves. So that way they make themselves work more, so they get paid more. So this brings me to my package unit side. And how do I link that in? Well, if you move to a hydrocarbon rooftop package, yes, they're more energy efficient. They've got like 1/3 the refrigerant charge on a rooftop package, so they work better, or they pump less refrigerant. So think about it, if I had 2 buckets, and in one bucket I had 2 liters of water and the other one I had 6, and you had to pick them up, the bucket with the 2 liters is only doing about 1/3 the work of the arm that's doing the 6 liters. So the arm with the 6 liters is lifting 3 times the weight. So the same it is for the compressor. If the compressor is pumping 2 kilos of refrigerant, or 2 liters if it's water, but it won't be, but 2 kilos, that's 1/3 of pumping 6 kilos. So that's the first science to the energy efficiency. The second part is working in extremes. Is that when you put a rooftop package in on the roof, you get those, if it's 40 degrees, it's probably 55 on the roof. So they have to work in extremes. So let's talk about the refrigerant. So the extreme temperature, or the critical temperature for the refrigerant, if it's a fluorinated refrigerant like R410A or R32, that's about 70 degrees. So if it's 55, you've got really, really high head pressures. For a natural refrigerant like M60 or hydrocarbons, it's about 130 degrees. So you're never near those critical temperatures. And the other technical part is that flash gas. So when that fluorinated or 410 or R32 machine got really high temperatures and high pressures, you've got a flash gas through the metering device on those extreme days of up to 42 to 45% of the refrigerants boiling off to cool itself before it cools the product. For the hydrocarbon, it's only around about 18%. So A, you're pumping 1/3 the weight. B, you've got a smaller flash gas. C, the refrigerant can absorb twice as much. So you know what? If it was a sponge, 1 kilo of say 410A can absorb about 240 kilojoules per kilogram approximately. Is that where with the M60 it can absorb 480 kilojoules. That's about 3 times the amount. So now you've got 3 science that are better. But let's talk about the reliability as well. Is that hydrocarbons don't make acids. So you don't have the problem like you do with fluorinated refrigerants, where if you've got a little bit of moisture in there, even though you're vacuuming it, is that you're going to wear out you're going to copper plate the compressor, you're going to damage the windings. This doesn't happen with hydrocarbon refrigerants. Also, because the pressures are not so high, they're way lower, is the machines last longer because there's less wear and tear on the machine. When it comes to, so if you move across and start working with the natural refrigerants, you start to lead the field. You start to be worth more. You start to be smarter, more knowledgeable. Remember I said about the 5% that work on themselves more than their business? So that puts you up into that 5% category. I want you to think about it this way, or this is how I think about it. You know what? We have to communicate. We learn when we're born to communicate. That's how we survive. But when we get really good at communicating, is that's when we become successful. When we get older, we make money by how well we can talk, how well we can communicate. Well, the same thing with the air conditioning is that you survive by learning your trade. You excel or thrive by going into an area where you're unique, where you're smarter. So working with a natural refrigerant machine is going to make you unique. You're going to give that GWP, which councils and all of that want. You're going to give your client an energy saving machine, which they all want. And you're going to be impressed with that side there. So my view is that definitely have a look at some Pioneer's new rooftop package units. It's easy to see why they're going to lead the field. Anyway, have a good week and I'll talk to you.